first.
Hi y'all, so this is Kyla and thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. I've been super busy this summer. I hope that you guys this summer have been going like really great, but I've been super busy. I have 2 jobs. I've been working so much. My background looks different because I moved into my first apartment like a few weeks ago, and that's been great. Yeah, and so I've been wanting to do like a lot of different videos, but I've just been too busy too, and I have a little bit of time now to do a video. So I don't know if you guys have seen my previous video. I'll link it down below in the description box, but I did a video talking about my experience as a first year MSW student, and in that video I got a couple of comments of people more interested in knowing more about what I did for my internship, which was at an elementary school. So that's what I'm going to talk about quickly with you guys today. So like I just said, my first year placement was at an elementary school, and it was very interesting because it was in the same school system that I grew up in. It wasn't the exact same school that I went to, but yeah, it was in the same town. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how to do this video because I don't want to talk way too much. So I'm going to start off by telling you guys about what I did, what I was responsible for doing, the things that I liked and the things I didn't like, and then if I don't cover everything or if there's still things that you're curious about, leave a comment and I'll comment back as soon as I see it. So we're gonna get started. At the school I worked as a tongue twister, okay. So as a school social work intern, I worked under one of the school social workers. That particular school actually had 2, but I just worked under one. And so one big push that the school was doing last year was improving attendance, because they realized that a lot of their kids had barriers for why they weren't coming to school, and of course like that affects, you know, attendance is very important because it not only affects the child now, but it affects their future as well. So if they're not in school, of course they're not learning the class material, they're missing a lot, you know. And just as far as having like important like standards for yourself regarding attendance starts when you're a kid. As far as even like when you think about the workplace and stuff like that, like we learn how to do certain things by what we did when we was a kid. So if you don't have like those concepts of the importance of going somewhere, being on time and doing whatever as a kid, like you're gonna, and you continue those habits, you're gonna struggle as an adult. So there's a lot of other reasons, and my supervisor was I guess I would say like the leader of this campaign. So one of my duties there was I had about 10 kids that were on my caseload for their absenteeism, and so they had a history of being chronically absent at the school. And so one of the ways that researchers found that helps to improve kids' attendance is if the kid has like a mentor or somebody at the school that they know without a shadow of a doubt is checking for them, besides like their teachers and all the regular people. So my responsibility with these kids was to be able to like build like some sort of relationship with them, so that, you know, they knew that somebody was looking out for them. So once a week I would go to them. We had a calendar. I'd be like, yo, like you're at school today. I'm so happy to see you today. How was your weekend? Sometimes I would take them for lunches and stuff like that. And so that was a good experience. Because I actually got to see progress with some of the kids that had like a poor history of attendance in the past, and like this was like the first time, well, this was one of the first years that they had started this. So yeah, and it's been very impactful in that school. So that was one of my responsibilities, was to make sure that I was constantly present when I was there around those kids that were absent, checking in with them, encouraging them, you know, to do better. We had a calendar to track their absences, and then like we would have like different like attendance parties during the school year. So if you were in school the whole month, you got to go to the attendance party. So that was cool. Like I like that. Yeah, so that was one of my duties, was the attendance kids, helping with the attendance club. Another one of my duties was I I would say like 10 kids that I worked with consistently throughout the school year that was more supposed to be counseling. And in these counseling sessions, it depended on what the kid needed. So like I had a guy, like a little boy, he was like in first grade, and he had a problem with like holding his attention and stuff in class. So when me and him would meet together, we would like do different activities to try to like encourage, you know, like good classroom behavior, paying attention to your teacher. Like, but I would try to, Pinterest became my best friend because I was able to find different creative activities on Pinterest to help with the kids, so that when they came and saw me, it wasn't just like we're just doing a little worksheet. Like it was fun, you know. I actually had these group of boys, they were like kindergartners, and the first time I had them all together, like shit was chaotic. But when I did like a little bit of research, I talked to my professor and stuff, so next time I got them together, we played a game. But they didn't realize that like by playing the game you were actually learning concepts. In their mind they was just like having fun. But it was cool seeing them like interact with each other and learn together, and seeing that that whole dynamic change. But I liked working with them because like we did like social skills together. So these boys, like they had issues with social skills, meeting new people, making new friends, so we did that. I'm just trying to give you guys some examples of some of the kids that I saw. Like I had a girl, she was in 5th grade, and she had been on my supervisor's caseload before. Like she had past family problems, but she had been doing good for the past couple of years, but they just wanted to make sure that she had somebody, and so they placed me with her. And so, you know, like I would get her during lunch, and we would just, a lot of times we would just talk about what's going on. She carried a lot on her shoulders, but we just would talk about what's going on. Sometimes we did self-esteem activities and stuff like that. So one thing that I will say for myself is that the difference between what I thought I was gonna do and what I really was doing is that school social work, for me personally, from my experience, isn't counseling, isn't therapy. It's not therapy. And I really learned that there's a difference between counseling somebody versus giving them therapy. And I learned that like school social workers, they have a lot, you know, that they do, but a lot of the work that you do with kids isn't therapy. Like, to me, it's not therapy at all. But at the same time, a lot of my kids didn't really need therapy. They needed like support, you know. And so that was the major difference, I feel like, between what I thought I was going to be doing versus what I ended up doing. And it could be different in different schools, but for that school, like I wasn't doing any type of therapy work with these kids. I was doing more so work and helping them with their behaviors to try to make, when they go back to the classroom, having a better day, you know, and those types of things. And I remember one time I was talking to somebody about it, and she was telling me that like they can't do therapy work because also when you think about it, they're in school. So if you have a child that needs therapy, a lot of times the counselors will be, well, the school social worker, from my experience, seems like they'll be there to support that child. They know that child's a problem and stuff, but they'll refer that child for like intensive therapy, like additional therapy outside of school, because they can't provide that in the school. And I guess that somebody tried to explain to me, like if you have a child that's been through something very traumatic, pulling them out of class and giving them therapy and doing the therapeutic work that needs to be done to help them get through whatever it is that they're going through, it'll disrupt their school day. It'll just cause like major disruption for the kids. So you can't do therapeutic work during the school day. That's what I was told. Somebody tried to explain that to me, and I was like, okay. So I don't want to make it seem like the social workers don't do anything important, because I think that they're very vital to the school. Especially, also depends on the area, like the area that the school's in, because the area that I interned in, it was it was like a low income area, but at the same time it was a magnet school, and so the issues that like, you know, that they had in that school might not be the same type of issues that you might have like in an inner city school. It could be completely different. So the school that I interned in was like a small town school, but yeah, so some of the things that I hope I'm making sense, I'm not blabbling too much, but some of the things that I liked about my internship is, one, I love the kids that I had. Like, although it was different than what I thought it was, I loved each and every one of those kids. Sometimes, you know, they got on my nerves a little bit, but you know, kids be doing that. But like, overall, like, I love the relationship that I was able to build with the kids that I worked with, and that was great. Overall, the school, people were very friendly there and helpful. Like in the beginning of the school year, for like half the year, me and another intern, we were working like out the back of the library, and the principal of that school, like when we left for winter break and came back, she had made us like a little office space and everything. Like it was really nice. Like I was like, oh my gosh. Of course, like working at a school, like there's different types of meetings, like PPT meetings, 504 meetings and stuff like that. Then I got to sit in on some of those meetings, so I appreciated being able to like see the different interactions between parents and their like social workers there, and seeing everybody work together as a team to try and make plans for helping these kids. Yeah, so I liked that part, you know. So some of the things that I disliked, and I'm going to be very honest, I did not have the best experience with my supervisor during my internship. Yeah, I didn't have the best experience with her. I don't really know what to say about it, because you know, this is the internet. So, but I didn't really have the best experience with her, and like sometimes it's hard like trying to talk about how I felt about last year, because I don't want to like overlook the way I felt about everything else just because of the way I felt about my supervisor. But I've had some experiences with some like not great supervisors, so I guess that's a learning experience. But yeah, I didn't have a good experience with my supervisor, which, you know, like sucked. I feel like the year would have been better if I felt more able to talk to her, more welcome. Like I had a few different run-ins with her that was just like made me just feel very uncomfortable, and yeah, so I didn't have a good experience with my supervisor. I didn't like I think that it's important. I loved all my kids, but some of my kids, with me working with their behavior problems, it felt like there's only but so much that you can do, you know. And so sometimes it really felt like, yo, like again, like we just talked about this, you know. So I didn't like that sometimes it didn't feel like that I could provide like a permanent fix, like a permanent solution for the kid. And then sometimes it was hard because it's like you might do work with the kid at school on like appropriate behaviors in classrooms and doing like whatever, but if their parents aren't enforcing these rules at home too, it's just like it's a balancing system. Also, something that was challenging is that one thing that you'll find with kids, like working with kids, is like your supervisor might tell you to work with this kid on something. Like the sisters, I had two sisters that I worked with them with counseling, but I also worked with them with attendance. Like they were horrible at attendance, and like when I would try to talk to them sometimes about like, yo, like why are you late? Like we gotta fix this. We gotta do something about this, you know. Like they would come back with, well, my mom lets me do my mom lets me, and so that's a little bit of a challenge though too, is finding that balance between like what you know is like right and what like the kid needs to go towards versus like what they're being taught at home, what their family's saying is right, because you don't want to step on the toes of their family members. Like that was a part that I didn't like it, but it's just, it was necessary, and it was a very good learning experience for me. Yeah, I feel like I learned some key concepts. Overall, would I work in a school system? I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what I want to do when I graduate, and I got like a year left to figure that out, like less than a year, honestly. So pray for me, y'all. But I don't know if I want to work in the school system. I'm in one of the classes I'm taking this year is about like being a social worker in schools, and it's the class that's needed in order to get like your certificate to work in the school. So that'll be good for me to just have. But I don't know. I feel like if I had a better experience with my supervisor, then it may have been like a little bit different for me. Like some things may have been different, you know, but I don't know if working in a school is for me. Like, it's not an idea that I would just toss out. I do love kids, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. If you guys have any questions, if I didn't cover anything or something important, be sure to leave that down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, I hope that you guys have a beautiful and great day, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.